Okay, guys, so this is my Nintendo Wii. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, not really. You may recognize this from a funny video I posted a few months ago. And yeah, this is actually what my Wii looks like. I did not just do all this for the video. This here is version 1.3. It's not very good. Let's talk about how it works. This thing basically shows how much current is flowing from either external power or batteries into the supercapacitors. So this thing right here switches over from external power to battery power if I unplug it. So you have an external battery plugged in right here. If I unplug it, this thing switches over to battery power, and the thing keeps running. So the problem with this thing is there's a power failure when switching over, so this would lose power, so I added supercapacitors to keep it on whenever it was switching over. Unfortunately, I went a bit overkill, and this pulls like way too much current if this is fully discharged, so I had to put this here. So when I haven't used it in a while, I have to like turn this way down and then slowly turn it up, and I can't turn it up too fast or this could overheat, or I could, you know, pull too much current from the batteries or the power adapter. This switch here is to disconnect the batteries, because unfortunately the batteries might damage the Wii when they're fully charged because of their high voltage. So I place this buck boost converter that outputs 12 volts regardless of what's going in here. Unfortunately, this drains the batteries over time, like within a few days, so when I'm not using it, I disconnect this and turn this off. This cuts power to the Wii completely. I'm not going to press it because I don't want this shutting off. This is how much power the Wii is getting. As you can see, it's only getting 11.4 volts. Luckily, the Wii does have a wide voltage tolerance. It can run all the way down to 8.5 volts before shutting off. This is my battery indicator to show how much I have left. Unfortunately, this is one of those cheap ones. It just shows the voltage, so here, let me show you something real quick. If I plug it in, oh yeah, and speaking of plugging it in, the batteries do not charge when plugged in, so I actually have to take them out and put them on a charger, which is something that will be fixed in the next version. So if I plug this in, hold on. See how that went from 13.4 volts to 14.4? When the batteries are under load, the voltage drops, and this percentage, which isn't even accurate in the first place because, you know, batteries drop like this, and when I set custom voltage ranges, it just does this, so the percentage basically means nothing. So what's going to happen in the redesigned version of this is the battery indicator is going to rely on Coulomb counting and cell modeling, so it will show accurate percentage, kind of like what's on your phone and laptops. And there's also two 0.5 amp USB ports in the Wii. I decided to add a third one that's 3 amps. That's also going to be in the new version. This is a reverse polarity protection in case I accidentally put the cells in backwards, so it won't damage anything. And as for all these parts, they're held on top with hot glue, so even the wires are glued into the power input with hot glue. Surprisingly, they haven't fallen out. I don't know how. So anyways, this design is functional, but pretty inconvenient. So for version 2.0, I only have a few parts. First is this 4S2P lithium-ion battery pack that I just made today. I used the EVE33V cells. They're 3200 milliamp hours each. I could have bought one that was 3500 milliamp hours, but I don't think that slight extra capacity was worth the much slower charging that all the batteries needed. Plus, this would be over 100 watt hours if I used those cells, and then I would need airline approval to take it on a plane. So I say these are good cells to use. I still need to add a BMS though, so it doesn't, cause a fire. The BMS is actually supposed to keep track of the state of charge, so hopefully I won't need to go out of my way to find a separate fuel gauge IC. And then this is a Raspberry Pi Pico 2 that I plan on using to program like a bunch of settings and a screen that will show how much battery is left and everything. That's all I have now. I'll be getting more parts soon. Also, all the parts will be inside the console for version 2.0. They won't be glued on top and exposed. Some people actually made their Wii battery powered by getting rid of the disk drive and putting batteries in there. I'm going to put all the batteries in the power system on top, so I'm going to need a shell that's taller so it can fit everything. And then the screen that shows the battery level and stuff will probably be placed on top. So that's everything for this as of now. I'll make another video when I make more progress. So thanks for watching.